Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to tell you the best DPS characters for each element. Do note that opinions may vary and you might not agree with this list, so feel free to comment down below on who you think should have been given the best DPS spot for their respective elements. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting with the Pyro element. The best DPS for Pyro element is C4 plus Xiangling. I know many people will disagree with this. Oh no, it's Hutao. No, it's Yoimiya. Some might even say Xiangling is not a DPS, she's a sub DPS. Yes, Xiangling can be used as a sub DPS, but don't forget she ends up dealing more damage than your main DPS. Xiangling is quite versatile as she can fit into many teams. There are some characters that are heavily reliant on Xiangling for giving the best results, not to mention the evergreen Xiangling national team that is still in the meta now. She is best against AoE situations. Even against single target enemies she does a great job. However, for single target, Hutao or Yoimiya are better. The main issue for Xiangling is her energy cost. As a result, you mostly need to run her with other Pyro teammates, especially Bennett, to alleviate her energy problems. She also has many polearm options. 90% of the polearms in the game can work extremely well on her. Moving on to the Hydro element. You might have already guessed the best DPS for this element. He is unarguably the best DPS in the game as he deals extremely high damage. And it is Nuvillet. Nuvillet can self-sustain as he can heal a huge amounts of HP. Even without buffs, his damage is high. As a result, he is a perfect character that you can use to solo clear the abyss. Prototype Ember, which is an F2P craftable weapon, is an amazing option for him. It gets better if you have Furina in your team. Next we have the Cryo element. The three main Cryo DPS are Ayaka, Grizzly and Ganyu. Ganyu deals decent sustained damage as her main source of damage is her charge attacks, which doesn't have any cooldown, but her damage feels a bit slow. She can be used in freeze, melt or mono cryo teams and can also be used as a cryo sub DPS. Ayaka deals extremely high burst damage within a short duration. But if the enemy moves a lot, her burst can miss, so you need to use her in freeze teams. However, freeze doesn't work against boss enemies, so this is one of the drawbacks of Ayaka. You are forced to use mono cryo against the boss enemies. Grizzly can work in many different teams: melt, freeze, hyperbloom or mono cryo. He lacks AoE that the other two characters provide, but he provides more sustained damage than Ayaka and faster DPS than Ganyu. So all these three characters have their pros and cons, which makes it quite difficult to pick one. I would pick Grizzly or Ganyu for this as they are more sustained and versatile. If I had to pick only one, I would pick Grizzly just because of his playstyle and definitely not his extremely big personality. Let me know in the comments which character you will give this seat of best cryo DPS. Moving on to the Dendro element, the answer is quite obvious. It is the feeble scholar of Sumeru, Alhaitham. If this video would have been the best character of each element, I would have picked Nahida here. But for DPS, it is Alhaitham. I don't need to talk much about him, as you can see from the gameplays, the amount of damage he can dish out in just a few seconds. Also, since he is a Dendro, he can utilize two of the best reactions, Quicken and Hyperbloom, which makes his DPS skyrocket. He also has F2P weapon and team options. Moving on to the Electro element. This spot is well deserved by the Mahamatra of Sumeru, Saino. Okay, I'm just kidding, it is Raiden with her Puba sword. I don't need to explain much, she deals extremely high damage within a short duration and also gives energy restoration to the whole team. Her short burst duration makes her quite flexible and she can be used in many different teams. The best team for Raiden Shogun is by building her as a Hyperbloom bot. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but Hyperbloom is broken. And I agree, building her as a Hyperbloom bot is a huge waste of potential. Next we have the Anemo element. Here we have a huge competition between Scaramouche and Xiao. Both have their pros and cons. Xiao has a large AoE coverage and has an unique playstyle. However, he is burst dependent and he can push the enemies away from each other, which makes it difficult to take advantage of his AoE damage. Also, for a brief time when he lands on the ground, he is vulnerable as he can't perform any actions, and this can lead to death or getting knocked, resulting in DPS loss. Scaramouche has high single target damage. He doesn't have any energy issues as his main damage comes from his normal attacks after using his skill. He does have some AoE in his charge attacks, but not as big as Xiao. He also has an easy playstyle. However, with the release of Xianyun, I think Xiao pulls ahead of Scaramouche in terms of damage. So in short, Xiao gets this position if you have Xianyun, or else both of them are quite similar, but I will go for Scaramouche. Also, Scaramouche can be extremely helpful for explorations. Moving on to Geo. For this, the two big competitors are Navia and Itto. Navia can nuke the enemies by dealing extremely high damage from her elemental skill, and Itto deals damage in small bits. Itto can also nuke with his elemental skill, although not as big as Navia's. The main difference between the two of them is that Itto is highly burst dependent, whereas Navia can deal damage from her elemental skill. Between the two of them, I will choose Navia, as Navia's rotations are quite flexible unlike Itto, as you can easily swap in and out of your supports and refresh your buffs. Navia can be used in various different teams and can utilize the best DPS characters from other elements, unlike Itto who is restricted to Mono Geo. And lastly, for physical DPS, I know this is not an element, but I thought it was worth mentioning. And I don't think there's any competition in this, as we don't have many physical carries, and Eula with her thick thighs dominate this niche. She is the only 5-star physical carry. She can hit millions with the nukes and has high normal attack and skill damage. She does require energy, but it can be solved with the help of Cryo teammates. As I said earlier, opinions may vary from person to person, so do let me know in the comments what are the DPS characters that are best for each elements according to you. And that's all for this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Genshin content. Thanks for watching.